Last year, I was in the market for a jack-of-all-trades vehicle, something that could be family-oriented, reliable, safe, and very utilitarian. And keyword reliable. I wanted something that would just work. And this 2013 Lexus GX460, I thought fit the bill very well. And after 26,500 miles and about a year and a half of ownership, I think I can give a solid review of what it's like to own. And hint, I don't think I would have put that many miles on it if I didn't like driving it. As a quick recap from my previous review video, I chose this because it has the towing ability, the luxury features such as the heated and cooled seats and the rear heated seats, the 3-zone climate control. That's all part of the comfort package. It has the adaptive headlights and it's got the 3rd row seats. All of that in a very allegedly reliable package. I will say that the GX has met my expectations for its luxury, smoothness, and comfort. I find this car to be very comfortable on long road trips, on highways, on crappy roads, on gravel roads, and even this little bit of off-road that is all the off-road that I've ever done in this GX. The drives are not fatiguing. The adaptive headlights work really well on the rural Virginia back roads and other back roads. You know, it works more than just in Virginia. And I think that it's a very nice place to sit. And I find myself grabbing this car out of all the other cars I have on the channel, especially because it just works. I know it'll turn on and I know that it's gonna be comfortable and it'll get me there. Some of the other cars, I can't really say the same thing. Taking this on 2 road trips so far, one up to New England, up to New Hampshire, visit David in the wintertime, and then one down to South Carolina, went to Charleston, both of which are, you know, within kind of like 8 hours away from me. We got to test out its winter driving abilities in New England, and I will say I'm satisfied. The full-time 4-wheel drive makes it brain dead easy, and of course that helps because I got new tires for the car, the Michelin Defender LTX2s, but more on that later. But winter driving, I love it. My wife likes it because it's, again, brain dead easy. She doesn't have to touch any buttons. She doesn't have to touch anything. Traction control works. And it is a very nice, stable, heavy SUV that she can feel comfortable and she can feel safe in. And that's kind of all what matters, right? For that, I really like it. On the highway driving, it's very smooth, very comfortable. You find that in city driving, the GX actually shines really well in city driving. Some of the roads that we experienced down in like downtown Charleston when we went on that little road trip, they're actually like pretty bad. I didn't expect like that much construction and kind of like random cobblestone, and the parking garages there were like really tight. Not a ton of parking, but you can fit everything down the narrow streets. You can fit the car in the narrow streets down there. The other major thing is the towing. So far, I've towed a bunch of stuff, towed motorcycles and put a motorcycle on the back on the hitch carrier. And I also towed the TR6 that David had and the 300ZX. So all of those were no issue. My main standard for towing is if I can pass people. I was able to pass people, have plenty of power, even uphill, going 70 miles an hour on the highway and maintain speed with traffic. I felt safe and felt comfortable. Everything felt fine and had no issues. Average fuel economy goes from about like 18 to about 14, which is to be expected because it's not like a dedicated towing vehicle, right? I'm very happy with that decision. Even though I don't tow like too often, I hate having to borrow people's stuff. So just even having that option really, you know, makes me feel comfortable. That's pretty much the only reason why I didn't get a minivan, is because I need to have something that can tow stuff when I want to tow stuff, and a minivan can't do it. I really like the interior. It's wearing pretty well. There's like a spot in the center console where I dig my elbow in and it is surviving. And the door panel right on the armrest there, that is still surviving. All the wood trim, all the little leather, that's still all surviving pretty well. So the interior is holding up and I like it. As far as luxury SUVs go, this probably has minimal features, but it's got nothing that you don't need, which is nice because there's less stuff to go wrong. The main drawback that I think there is in the third row seating. The third row seating is meant for midgets, which is true for kind of like every, mid-size SUV. I mean, if you had to, right? This is not a Suburban, so expectations kind of have to be, brought down a little bit. The biggest issue with the third row though is that when it's folded, it tries to take up the same space that the spare tire has on the bottom. So you're kind of limited with how much space you can actually, have that's usable. I really wish Lexus or Toyota came out with like an option that had it on the tailgate so that then you could actually have more space in the rear with the third row seat. Unfortunately, they don't. Interior space kind of suffers. So on paper, it has less room than other kind of mid-size SUVs, but I do find that since the back is so tall and the rear hatch is flat, you can actually take advantage of all that space. Some of them, because of the weird curvatures of the glass and of the tailgate, you can't really take advantage of all the floor space that you have. So if you're putting in something square, right, like suitcases, you can actually really stack these like Tetris, whereas in others, you can't really do it. The only other gripe that I have on the interior is the fact that the navigation doesn't work. Somehow I've survived so long with my wife giving me directions, but when I experienced the Android Auto and Maps integration in David's X5, it all started to make sense why we were getting lost. I am going to find a way to get the integration set up. Did see that there is an option. It's like $700 or something, but I think it'll probably be worth it to not miss exits and not miss turns. So I found that the wintertime fuel economy like really suffered for some reason. It went from 18 to like 15 and 16, somewhere around there. I don't know if just like the cold air, this brick of a design cannot go through it, or if it's the fluids and something with the full-time all-wheel drive system, just like it cannot handle that viscous of a fluid, right, as it thickens when it gets colder. I'm not really sure, but it really suffered. Now let's go into the maintenance, repairs, and total costs. I left a stroller in here. Oh my gosh. Now let's start getting over maintenance. I've got a list here in front of me and numbers and stuff, but we'll first start with what's gone wrong. And the list is gonna be pretty short. It's gonna be right here. Nothing. Nothing's gone wrong. There's been no check engine lights. Nothing has left me stranded. And for 26,500 miles, this car now has 111 and a half. It's had no mechanical issues. I'm very proud of that. It's living up to its reliability reputation so far, but we'll touch on that later because there is an issue that is mentioned on forums that I think this one is suffering from. But overall, how much does it cost to own? Initial service that I did was $135, oil change, air filter, and cabin air filter, all using Lexus parts. After that, all subsequent oil changes have been about $75. This thing's pretty thirsty, it takes 8 quarts. Although the oil filters you can get from Toyota are pretty cheap, so I just used the OEM Lexus filters. Oh, and I've done 6 total oil changes. And about the 100,000 mile mark, I did the front and rear differential, transfer case, drain and fill the transmission, and drain and filled all the coolant. Actually did all the coolant little bleeding spots on the side of the block to get like 2 gallons of coolant out. So that cost me about $350 in fluids alone and my entire Saturday. Although I did film some of it, so that took more time. So you could do it in like half Saturday probably. My largest expense after that were tires. After about 15,000 miles of ownership, the Michelin cross climates that were on here started to go down to wear marks. So I got the Michelin Defenders. David's got them on his Lexus, his LX460, his 100 series Land Cruiser. Those were really expensive, about $1,400 after install, the tires themselves, taxes, theft, and I got the like discount tire, like little certificates for handling flats. After that, because I was doing a bunch of towing and we had done a bunch of road trips and stuff, I decided to just get the transmission filled correctly and just took it to a dealer to do the transmission drain and fill. I asked specifically for a drain and fill, and they went ahead and did a flush. Ever since then, I've started to have like weird transmission issues. Sometimes when the transmission is cold, you're around like 45, 40 miles an hour, it'll just like hang up at like 2000 RPM. It can't figure out if it wants to shift or not. Something like really strange like that. And then the other issue I've noticed is that if you do like a panic stop and the transmission has to downshift a bunch, it'll almost kind of like get stuck in neutral. So then you'll accelerate, then all of a sudden it like can't figure out that it needs to go. So it like raises up RPMs and then like does a neutral drop. It's like really strange. So I try not to like do that. But I have heard that there are transmission issues in higher mileage vehicles. I'm kind of don't know if like maybe I caused the damage from a drain and fill, but the dealer never said anything about it being underfilled or overfilled or if they noticed anything wrong. So I figured that if they saw a bunch of glitter and a bunch of material in the fluid, they would have tried to upsell me on a new transmission. I figured that it was probably fine, but something that the flush did mess something up. So let's go over the total cost of ownership. Maintenance alone was about $2,710. Fuel in that same mileage is about $4,400, assuming about an average of $3 a gallon, which it is about in this area. And depreciation, I think we can say maybe about $2,500. The other thing is insurance. Insurance about $1,100 a year for my wife and I, no accidents and no history. And then the other thing is that I own this car outright. I don't have any financing on this, so I don't pay interest on it. So in total, we're at about 39 cents a mile. And if you think about it, the IRS gives you 70 cents a mile for 2025. And AAA came out like in 2024. The average cost for a new vehicle is about 82 cents a mile. So I think doing pretty well. Now, just because nothing's gone wrong on the GX yet, there are some things I am taking note of. At about the 120,000 mile mark, I'm going to start doing some more maintenance. I'm going to use some spark plugs, do the air filter again, and I'm going to probably do the cabin air filter. The front shocks have started to weep just a little bit, so there is some dampness on outside of the front shocks. I'm not interested in doing any sort of upgrades, and I'm just probably going to use stock Lexus suspension. And that same thought for front suspension, I have noticed that there is some cracking in the control arm bushings. This probably is where when I press on the brake, I can feel like a slight like shift sometimes. It's only like slow speeds. If I'm slowing to like pull into a driveway, I can sometimes feel that there's like a very, very slight clunk in the front end. And I think that's probably the control arm bushings. So of course you have to get them as a whole assembly. So it would be like new ball joints, new bushings, new kind of everything. And then you have to pay for an alignment after. So probably end up doing everything all at once. Front, rear shocks, control arm bushings, and like the KDSS bushings and all this other stuff. Give it a good, nice refresh. But outside of that, everything looks pretty good. And this car has not had the coolant valley plate leak fixed yet. It's not been an issue. Every single oil change, I crawl underneath and I check the back of the billet housing for leaks, and I check the coolant level. So far, coolant level since I've done the coolant change has stayed relatively consistent. Maybe there was just only like a slight loss, probably just evaporation. I don't see any leaks anywhere. So far, pretty good, but I'll probably try and attempt to do that myself. Overall, I think it's been pretty good. It's been very reliable. Starts, drives, everywhere, every time. So it's been really nice. Overall, this Lexus GX460 has been very reliable and very good to me. I think the Lexus GX460 is a great option if you could only have one vehicle. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.